All right. Well, Sam and I just went and saw Oppenheimer, and there's just so much to say about this movie that it's hard for me to feel like I can even make a definitive review or opinion about it until I think on it some more and or watch it a second time. My immediate reaction, my immediate thing for it is it's 3 hours long, but I have never seen a movie that is so long at such a breakneck pacing. Uh, Christopher Nolan fits so much time and so much information into one movie that in order for it to work, the cuts and even the dialogue exchanges are happening so fast that it borders on feeling unnatural. All that being said, though, it still works really well. Some more things on it technically. The gaffing is outstanding, unbelievable. The profile shot or the portrait shot specifically, like the medium close-ups, the lighting on the faces is so, you can tell, is so thoughtful. They use a ton of hard one-sided lighting, so people's faces are usually black and white, and my kind of rough layman interpretation of that is that a lot of the characters are relatively two-faced, or they are dealing with a lot of good and evil just because the nature of the atomic bomb and the people who worked on it, you could argue, had the best intentions, but also the nature of what they were working on made them some of the most evil people in human history, arguably. So, I don't know. That's sort of my interpretation. There's just so much to break down in the movie. There's a lot of incredibly, really, really good storytelling moments in it, where he sort of breaks the very reality and uses a lot of sort of symbolism and portraying what people are thinking in their head in moments, and like building what's going on in someone's head out into a physical scene. And so the movie has such a serious tone and overall isn't like weird and trippy or anything, but when those scenes hit, it's very jarring because you're put in this very realistic and kind of historical and political world, and then suddenly there's these very outlandish, things with like nude people and stuff like that. And so there's a lot of those, but they're very powerful and they're very good. A tremendous amount of thought, I think, went into what all of these characters are saying. As someone who has been infinitely fascinated with nuclear history, and I've done a lot of deep diving, just loose like Wikipedia, deep diving on various people and events and times and projects throughout the history of the development of nuclear weapons. There's so many lines and moments that are really powerful, and there's a lot of emphasis put on what people say, specifically when the Trinity experiment happened. There's a lot of controversy about what was actually said by J. Oppenheimer in that moment, and I think I was very intrigued to see the choice that he made. Now, I'm not going to spoil any of it, but the choice that was made in that moment, I thought was satisfying, but also very interesting. It was something that I didn't see coming, because I was sort of like, it was sort of a multiple choice question, but he wrote in his own answer, sort of a thing. So that was really cool. Like I said, I feel like I need to rewatch it. There's so much that happens in that movie in terms of time. I think you have to really hang on through it in order to keep up, because another one of the things throughout it is the music is very loud. The mixing makes it sometimes difficult to hear what people are saying, and while I understand that that's intentional because of my previous understanding of some of Christopher Nolan's directorial decisions, it makes it sometimes hard because Sam and I both feel like we had missed some important lines, and so I don't know if those would have been better or worse for the movie. So anyways, I'm hesitant to say too much more other than I think this is definitely a movie worth watching. Be prepared that it is long, and it does feel long, but it keeps you definitely in its grasp, and I think there is a ton of much like the Batman trilogy, there is so much good and evil wrapped into each one of these characters, and the way that they toe the line and your own interpretation of it is quite, it gives you a lot to think about. So I'd give it an 8 out of 10. That number could go up or down based on a second rewatch, but I think technically it's a very, very good movie. The performances are stunning. The direction is very stunning. I think what stuck out to me most technically was the editing, the pacing, and the lighting. The lighting is just out of this world. I don't know. I think there was just a lot of emphasis put on the format that this movie was filmed in, and so I think this was a big moment for a lot of the people who got to work on this movie, specifically, the lighting and electric crew. So, if nothing else, I think it's a good movie to watch for its technical abilities. Like I said, 8 out of 10. That's what I'm going with right now. Definitely will be watching again.